Hello everyone and welcome to the ScratchRunning Podcast, the official podcast of competitive browser gaming, where our motto is, I am never writing an essay again.
True.
As always, I'm your host Kieran, and with me on the mic are... Clabs, Apfellord, and... Who are you?
Special guest host.
Hi.
Introduce yourself.
Way back when I was known as Swifty, but you can call me Zach.
Swifty Tutor,
This is
you can
Zach.
call him.
Yeah, specifically. I'm kind of old.
You are.
So,
you are old
allegedly,
and no longer
you
on
used
Scratch.
to have a Scratch account.
Yeah, used to have a Scratch account, a really big one too, in the 1.4
that
days.
was hell a long time ago, though. That was like...
That was
super
then.
long time ago.
Well, I mean, it was like around... I think I started around like 2009 or 2010, around there.
Yeah.
It's like 12
Like
years ago about.
my goodness. And for everybody who doesn't know who Swifty 2, the account or the animations were, okay, I guess I already said it now, was a really popular animator back in the day that competed with the Astros, and the cool 999. Okay, I don't know if he was
Pretty big
Epic
account.
Gamer 55.
basically dominated the front page of Scratch whenever you uploaded something.
Yeah, pretty much. It wasn't often, but it was like, whenever I did, it was pretty much like...
To summarize
immediate.
it in braggadocious words,
I wouldn't
you're
say
kind of a
riff
big deal.
patch tier, but maybe third or fourth on Scratch stats.
And now you're, doing animation, doing voice acting, doing stuff like that.
Full-time
Yeah.
animator, voice actor.
Where did live lead you from Scratch?
Well, afterward,
from scratch onwards.
I actually went to college for animation.
Ooh.
But
nice.
studied it, and I also learned a lot of other arts and graphic design and things like that. And then once I did, I was able to apply in a lot of other jobs that I got into.
Nice.
For example, I worked for doing a lot of freelance work. I also worked for an animation studio for a period of time, but that's a whole story and a half.
Yeah, we'll get to that one.
Yeah, I would absolutely love to hear about that.
It's a wild story because it did not go great. Not for me, but for everybody there.
What did you do?
Is this like a story where you tell kids, what animating is cool and all?
Oh,
but,
let me tell you a story about when I was your age and I was
Animating's
doing
cool and all, but
animation.
maybe you shouldn't throw exercise
tell
balls
the
around.
Wazos out there and the
Well, I
Astros
mean,
and the people who want to be like
I
them.
guess
It's tough.
to summarize, back when I was, doing animations and stuff for Scratch, it was kind of like I was 10 years old, literally. And I was looking for a new animation software to work with because previously I had been doing stop motion animation. I was doing Legos, claymation, and things like that on my own. And I had learned how to do that from YouTube videos. And so,
of course, yeah.
when I found Scratch, I was like, I can do finally animations on the computer, right? And so eventually I was making my own projects, but I wasn't uploading them. And so I eventually decided to upload one, and I got kind of addicted to doing it, right? So I just kept uploading and uploading and uploading. And my first few projects were really, really bad. It was
Well, we can all.
You what?
Yeah.
You don't like your Lakitu sprite sheet projects?
No.
Everybody had one of those.
It was kind of I would upload stuff with sprites that I would find and be like, oh, I'm just gonna make my own little story, and then occasionally I would draw my own stuff,
Yeah.
But it was never really something crazy, right?
This is just something I want to say before we go any further. We are recording this pretty early in the morning for some of us.
It is.
Specifically for Clabs and Swifty over here.
It's 4:10 p.m. here.
Hello.
So we're getting out the jazz voices here. I'm gonna put some jazz in the background, and we're just doing the
Back
jazz
to our
podcast.
interview with Swifty.
Anyway,
Welcome
back
to
to our
Scratch
regularly
Jazz.
scheduled podcast.
Yes.
And please continue with your jazz voice.
What I was gonna say is that back when I was doing this, what happened was that I started experimenting with making actual animations, and then what ended up happening is that I wanted to kind of create my own stories, And so me and my brother, we thought it would be kind of a cool idea if we like storyboarded stuff, right? So we started storyboarding things.
step one.
He had a lot of ideas, I had a lot of ideas, and so we would like make a little board and like actually like pin little drawings that we would come up with for ideas. And most of those ideas did not come to be. Actually, I have a ton of projects that never ever came out. And so what we did was that we just kind of like took like the first one that caught our attention, and we're like, oh, we can run with this, you know. And so once we figured that out, I would animate it. Usually I would get like an animation done in like 3 days, which started like my really fast animation process, because I've always been a really fast animator. I'm the kind of person where, you know, I used to procrastinate a lot in college. So there would be an animation assignment due, and then I would completely forget about it because I'm wrapped up in other classes. And then what would happen is that once the deadline is like tomorrow, I would do like a whole animation like in 24 hours.
Do you think that is more because you like don't? Because some people get caught up in the details of like, especially in animation, right, where you can like every frame could be really detailed. But would you say that you're more of like a, you know, you have an end goal and you know how to meet that end goal? In the specific time without
I'd
like
say,
getting
weirdly
stuck
enough,
somewhere.
I feel like Scratch kind of prepared me to be a really quick animator, but in a different way, right? See, like
I feel like quick animations. I think you are a Scratch animator, or at least you were.
Yeah. I definitely learned a lot when it comes from that, because you know, Scratch didn't have really a way to sketch stuff, right? It was kind of like you draw the sprite and then you move on to the next sprite, right? So I still to this day, I don't even sketch things, right? Like I just draw, and I don't storyboard as often. I just draw, right? Like it just comes from my head. And so a large majority of the animations I can make really quick because I just go straight to line art.
It's interesting.
But it's been interesting to see, because with Scratch there was a lot of things I wanted back then. Like I would push the Scratch team all the time and be like, oh, we should add onion skin in Scratch 2.0, and this is back when 1.4 was out.
We didn't even have clones back then, right?
Yeah,
just
exactly.
For like,
yeah.
And so
perspective.
I was really excited because they were like, oh, we're moving to Flash. We're gonna have vector graphics, right?
Ooh, Flash.
And here I am saying like,
Man.
oh my god, like we're gonna become like Adobe, you know. I was always trying to push for onion skin. I always wanted onion skin because I feel like it would help with animation.
Absolutely.
I'm still hoping to this day they add it, but you know.
Thinking about it now, can I just like jump in here? Yeah. We have Turbo Warp now, which is something we are allowed to talk about. And didn't Robot actually help develop the onion skin feature?
Yes, he did.
So this guy on our server here on ScratchRunning helped develop that exact feature now for Turbo Warp. And you know, if anybody of you
what's
there,
Turbo Warp?
So it's like, for everybody
Turbo
who's
Warp
not in the know, it's like the new.
It's a Scratch hacks client that just runs projects faster.
Yeah,
Oh.
it started out as that, but now it started to add like a bunch of, you know, I'm gonna say the bad word, extensions to it that, you know, add a bunch of functionality to make Scratch a bit more professional, if you could call it that.
Okay.
So you have you know, stuff like onion skinning or the pause button. It was a big thing.
Is the search feature on Turbo Warp?
And it can, you know, 60 FPS mode and
Oh, wow.
like another place to play like
Griff
cloud
Patch's DevTools
games on.
had a search function.
So it's in
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
I think it should be
Nice.
fine.
It's in there. It's got all the stuff.
I'm sure you'll remember this, and I don't know if this has been remedied, but back in 1.4, the biggest issue I had when it came to uploading projects was the size limit. There was like some kind of weird size
still
limit.
a problem.
It's
Still a problem.
slightly increased in 3.0.
Oh, that's
but
good. That is
the
good.
only
good thing
person
is
here that
they what they
really
did
deals
now,
with that's Nick.
they moved from, or I don't know if this is a good thing now that I say it, but they moved from a file size limit, like an overall file size limit, to
An asset file size limit.
yeah.
So
So
you
you
can only
now
have
like
so big of
scripting
a
has a
file.
file size limit, and the costumes and the sounds and everything have a maximum file size limit, and that is much like higher than what we had back then. I don't know if it was like what 50 megabytes less.
You know what? I can actually tell you right now because I have a project still that it took me ages to upload because every time I would try to upload it, it would it would be like, it failed to upload, file size limit like too large. Where is it?
Wait,
Here it is.
You had to use the offline editor on Scratch 1.
Yeah.
I remember you had to. I saw it on archive.org. You had to download the offline editor, make an SB, upload the SB to Scratch.
Yeah.
And then it shows on your profile.
This was 10.8 megabytes, right? I think the limit was 11 megabytes. And I was desperately trying to upload it for ages, right? Like, I think it took me 2 weeks to upload it.
What?
And I was just constantly, like, hitting the share button. And it just wouldn't work. And I had to keep removing things. And it was it was crazy. It's crazy.
Nick, I actually had this question for you about Taranga. What is filling up your JSON file? Because I want to make sure I don't fill up my Google file.
For me, the most I've tried to make some like research on this. I like opened up a blank project and just started like making 100 variables, seeing how that affects the file size, making 100 lists with each like 100 list items or something, and seeing how that affects it, making or like cloning a script a bunch of times, and I think what I don't have it. I have it on the other PC, but I remember like seeing that lists took up so much of, because if you just look into the JSON file, you can see that like the list, the code for it inside the JSON file, has like all these. I'm not gonna call them unnecessary because like there's a reason it's made like that, but it does seem like that. Like lists take up the most space, and my like Taranga has a bunch of variables. It has a ton of scripts. Like just I tried to reduce them. So I don't. There are no like scripts just scattered around that don't do anything. Right?
Do you think unique lists is the problem, or is just as many lists as you make is always going to add to the problem?
Unique lists with a bunch of unique list items. That's the other thing. Because I have like every. I thought. Going from, because previously everything like every status effect and its explanation was like its own costume, and I wanted to move away from that, and so I made this text engine. But now every like the text of every single thing in the game, of every ability, of every status effect, of every item, is like its own list item.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely not gonna add Google descriptions to this game. Sorry, fellas. If you want to know the lore behind your Googles, you'll have
that's gonna be a separate project.
Yeah.
So that's just like a thing that I think that cluttered it up a lot. That I didn't know back then. I like the only way I found out about it was when it was too late. When I was at 5 megabytes JSON file size .json file size limit, and the file or the project just said. Couldn't load or couldn't save.
It might be a total pain and go against everything you want, but you might want to go back to like using costumes or something if it'll make it so you have more room to do what you want to do. Maybe.
I feel like I've come this far. I don't and my end goal for this game too is like making it semi-moddable, like, or just like easier to mod, and like just make it more modular, if that makes sense. So that was something I really wanted to push, but
it's like a sunk lost fallacy, because if it's not going to work, you've come so far. If it's just not going to work, you need to not do it, right?
Yeah, and I think I've accepted that at this point. Like I'm gonna work on this game as like for as long as it lets me, and I'm gonna, I don't know. After that, I might just like upload what I have. If it like either I finish the game, or Scratch just says like the game can't be any like larger, and then I just upload that. It's gonna be fine. But we are at 4.8, I think, megabytes of JSON file size. I talked all about this in my in the most recent app art, but I talked about it pretty late in the thing, so I'm happy I get a chance to do it again here. But this is just a heads up to Scratch, to maybe
Scratch viewers.
just up like crank that thing up a little more.
Just like 7 megabytes.
Yeah,
maybe?
just give me 7.
I doubt that would make much of a
Just
difference.
just a crumb of storage, man.
I think the majority of storage gets taken up by like sounds anyway, sounds and sprites.
Absolutely.
So, like just
I think that's the biggest problem.
Just a little more JSON. Just a little more JSON.
And they like put what is that, like 100? You can have 100 megabytes in costumes and stuff.
But only 5. But only 5 in JSON. How
But
about you
only 5 in
reduce it?
You can put just an uncompressed. You could import the SRCast as WAV files, put it in a project, and Scratch will let you upload it.
But not a
Then
5
you try
megabytes
to
JSON file.
Here's my
try to make
proposal.
a game. You try to spend longer than 10 seconds making a game, and it won't save.
Yeah, 20 megabytes off of overall project size plus 20 to JSON.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be spicy? Wouldn't that be delicious?
That would be, dude. I'd be over the moon.
Scratch got server space.
That
Like
would've
it would
been
be Rock Lee, like
extremely
the gif of
helpful.
Rock Lee throwing away the weights, and just going.
Finally, I'll be able to code again.
It would be the same size overall because you already can have 100 megabyte.
Yeah.
It would just let you have a bigger coding.
There's
And that's-
I feel like this is something Scratch Team just doesn't realize. I don't think there is, or maybe if there is, please someone smarter than me tell me about this. But I don't think there's like an actual thing preventing them from going above 5 megabytes. It's not like a technical thing where they say, oh, if it's any bigger than this, people are gonna have a like tough time loading it.
Yeah, I don't think
I don't think
JSON
that's the
files are harder to store than just like like vectors.
Just a sound.
It's just
Yeah.
data, lol.
Yeah, right. It's just it's literally JavaScript just in plain text.
Yeah.
So talking about things that Scratch can, Scratch Team can improve, I am extremely happy, like extremely happy to see that they are starting to work on new stuff again.
Yeah.
Scratch
I don't know if
Really now.
Labs.
everybody has hopefully out there like at least seen this on the front page, but
good.
the Scratch Team has started to work on a thing or introduce a thing called Scratch Labs or Scratch Lab, where they basically test out or let us test out new types of blocks with new functionalities and stuff people have been asking for a while.
That's big.
That is huge. I am so happy that they like. This basically means that they are like open to work on new stuff again, open to update like Scratch in general again with new functionalities.
Yeah.
And they're not just putting it in like all willy-nilly. They're going, okay, how can we improve this before we put it in? Or what are the problems with this?
Yeah, because they're asking for feedback.
It's funny.
Yeah,
It's funny
yeah.
you bring that up because I remember people would always be like posting on the forums and such and being like, "Oh, we want this new feature," and then they would be like,
Oh,
you shouldn't be posting on the forums about this." Like, I forget how they said like you should actually be suggesting something, but then I remember my solution was just I made a project, just being like, "Hey, this is what I want." Yeah.
That's how you should be doing it. Swifty, you come from a time when people used the Scratch forums.
Yeah.
I don't really see many
I
people
go
on
on
them.
Servers
there.
are dead now.
A little bit. I'm kind of
They're
a
still
boomer
up,
though.
but it's been a while since anyone used them. The only Scratch forum threads I really follow are the Monster World strategy guide.
hey, there you go. That's mine.
That's Nick's.
That's the one I frequent the most too. And
True.
like there is there's still a forum, basically a place where people can talk about stuff they want to have in Scratch or bugs they found in Scratch. But it's like I don't feel like Scratch Team ever like
Scratch Team
maybe after
never
like 3.0
reads.
hit, but then even then we like lost stuff we had back in 2.0. So it doesn't really feel like they listen a lot there. So I hope this changes with Scratch Lab. And so I don't know if you guys are ready to already talk about the first thing we have in Scratch Lab, which is it's a text engine basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a freaking text
I
engine.
think I saw
Yeah.
that
I might
where it
blur
had like
that.
the rainbow text and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah,
toggles
yeah.
between the sprite that you actually want and then text if you turn on a text block.
It is like a very interesting way they did this because like instead of
Can I wait right before we do this? Sorry, I was trying to find this post on the forum. I posted something to the Glitch and Bugs forum, and I'm now noticing there are many posts on here with like several views, 50, 60, but none of these have any responses.
Absolutely.
So people just peruse the Glitch forum and like no one has any help. You know what has the most?
Do you have a /discuss link to your thread? I want to read it.
Sure, it was just me being sad that my game was not working. But you know what the biggest one I see right now is trending weirdly subjective. Which isn't exactly a bug, but it just has
that's just an opinion, you know.
Yeah, so it has 8,000 views and 500 replies.
It is something that is like never or not documented anywhere, and that people are just like speculating on, and have been speculating on for a while now. That like they're making like changes to trending, and maybe someone from Scratch team can actually like tell us is this the case or not.
Wait, how does trending work now?
Well, nobody knows.
Get on the trending tab.
I sometimes still feel like it's tailored to, I don't know how they would go about this, but it's somehow tailored to the specific person viewing the site.
Oh.
Because when I log out of my account, I have a different trending page or a different what's popular in blah blah blah.
Personalized trending.
Yeah.
Every copy of the Scratch front page is personalized.
All right, I didn't mean to detract. We should talk about the text engine.
I spent all this time working on a cool text engine for Mods World, and now Scratch is just like, oh wait.
I know, it doesn't even use lists. I guess you would want to use lists.
But the way they do it, the way they do it is so funny to me.
I think you type something into the block, and when the block activates, your sprite turns into the text you just typed.
So instead of like doing it with pen or doing it with clones, they just kind of
replaces the sprite costume.
They replace the sprite you like activate this block on with the text, and the text is always as wide, or at the start it's as wide as the canvas, so it will then like do the line break when it's at the end of the canvas. But then you have like a bunch of stuff you can do with this now that this is like an actual. It's treated as a sprite, because you can change the size with the size block. You can change the color with the like effect blocks. You can probably even change. Let me actually try this right now. Can you change like ghost effect or something?
Change the text color.
Yeah, you can change it with ghost.
Like, you can even change the size and it'll wrap correctly, like the width.
Exactly, and
that's pretty good.
Right now, I feel like it's at a pretty good point, like at a pretty good place. I don't think, like, unless there's some weird bugs I haven't found yet, this seems extremely like potent. I feel like people will use this a ton.
Yeah.
This would be a great addition to normal Scratch.
I'm like trying it right now. You can like set the whirl effect, and if you like set to type mode, it'll type with the whirl, and it kind of looks awesome.
I like the way the rainbow text dances. It's just like.
If there, If there's a one,
shame you can't do. You can't have rainbow text and not rainbow text.
That's kind of what I'm saying. It's a shame you can't have like a join.
The Taranga engine.
Yeah. A join block that would be like join text with rainbow text, and then you can have like a chunk of your text be a different color, have a different effect.
That's where my text engine maybe comes in.
Yes.
But I feel like this is already like the whole like type it out in real time. I just don't know why they made zoom.
Oh wow, this is. I don't know what the point is of this zoom.
I just wish we had some more like standard formatting things, like bold text or italics or something like that, and not the funky ones like rainbow and zoom. And type is really cool.
Yeah,
I really love type.
The join thing I want will never get it. But it would be nice if they had
like custom animations for text.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That would be good. And why not let us, add fonts, custom fonts?
True.
That'd be
what is the problem with adding a new font?
Well, it's like you can submit all sorts of assets. I'm sure they could let you submit a font file and have it just know how to use it.
Like unless people I know people are going to say, oh, you could just add a font that has like explicit stuff in it.
Yeah,
you can also just upload an image.
Yeah, you can just draw explicit stuff.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter. You can like all fonts are in a specific file format. that they could probably work with. I don't think that would be a bad idea. I think it would add a lot of.
I would love that. That
lot
would
of cool
actually
stuff.
make me. I would use this feature if I could upload a font.
Yeah,
That'd
absolutely.
be good.
Um,
No, I'm
just
stuck
watch
with the
somebody
marker
like make
font.
a tile-based platformer where every tile is actually just like a font or a letter in
Yeah.
a different.
Scratch
It's like
platform,
ASCII.
but
Yeah,
it's actually text. Oh my gosh!
man, Swifty and
It's never
Clabs.
been
Remember
done
the
before.
one sprite one.
Remember one
One
sprite,
sprite, one
one
script?
sprite?
Yeah,
Wait,
yeah,
wait,
yeah.
Yeah.
You know when people used to make like games that were one sprite, one script games? Where they,
Yes.
They were like super proud of it.
Yeah, it's like a
it was
pen
like a
physics
whole
engine.
game within a
That was
within
like
one
the
sprite.
one
and
thing.
then all the costumes of like the sprite would be like
Oh yeah.
like in like the entire thing. So for example, they wouldn't even do a background layer. They would just make it that like the sprite itself has different costumes of where your character can go.
Exactly.
And like
Exactly.
the,
Did
the
they-
maze
could you
or
even
level
do
is
one
within the
script?
costume.
Could you even do one script, one sprite in Scratch One?
Yes, and it blew my mind. It absolutely
What?
blew my mind. People.
Without clones?
Yes.
Oh yeah, it was just pen.
People-
It was just pen and lists.
Oh,
Yeah.
sure. That's cool.
I don't know
remember
how they did.
when they took the sprite counter out of Scratch 3.
Uh,
The first thing I said was, "Oh, now you can't do one script, one sprite."
because nobody will notice.
Can I make it type? Can I make it type the text faster?
No,
I don't think
that
that
would
is-
be kind of nice.
That would be good.
It's like okay, I want these features, but I can be realistic. I know that would be kind of a big thing to just add, and also might be too confusing for kids. Or,
What do you mean?
In their opinion? Well, it's just like if you add too many editable...
Variables to it.
Right, because the most we have in the game is like think for 2 seconds. That's like two
true.
inputs, or
Yeah.
glide 1 second to X Y. That's probably the biggest.
Yeah, we really never have more than 2 unless you do them yourself, right?
Yeah. So if they wanted to do like zoom text with italicized or bold with 500 width, I think I understand why it's not going to be.
Dude, just
all-
add like formatting tags.
right, and
good.
that's when it gets a little
Yeah.
like, unrealistic. I would want it. Obviously, I would want it. But out of everything here, honestly, I find the most realistic, even though it might seem weird, is adding the font files. I think they could actually do that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know how easy that is to add to the whole thing. But
They would need to
it
add
would
like
be
a new
cool.
tab, or they would need to make it in the animated text section where there's like a button. But
Absolutely.
that would be amazing.
So that's that. I really hope Scratch Team adds this and soon, because it seems pretty good now. They could just
Scratch is partially funded by Google. They could just use Google fonts.
right. Wouldn't that be good? Have you guys tried out the other one in Scratch Labs? The
facial
video, the camera based one.
Yeah, I couldn't get it to work. Well, I got it to work, but it was so slow. It was really
I don't have a
really
webcam,
slow.
so that's like a. it doesn't
Imagine
work for
being
me.
a programming language with facial rotation.
Now
as a
that would be
variable.
interesting. We're basically making Connect Scratch.
Yeah. Do you guys remember iToy?
Yeah, for
Yeah,
the
I do.
PlayStation,
I
right?
used an iToy as my webcam in my first months of streaming.
Wait, really?
iToy
What?
was good.
That's real. I used a PS3i as a webcam.
That's so good.
kind of respect that a lot.
Yeah.
People commented on how the webcam wasn't very good, and I just said, "I know." And then I
can't help it.
upgraded.
Let's play some iToy.
I don't even have the iToy games. I don't think.
Kieran,
So now-
you think you're so cool, but my first webcam was the Wiimote sensor.
What?
You can use that as a camera source.
How?
No, it doesn't even have. It's literally
Nah.
just like a heat map.
Cap.
You can use a candle as a Wiimote sensor.
Wait,
So
You'd have to plug the candles in.
True. Yeah, if you take 2 candles and put them on the top of your TV, you can use it as a Wiimote sensor.
It's
how
amazing.
bizarre.
Let me. Yeah.
Wait, the
let's-
sensor bar just reflects the IR from the Wii remote, right?
No, it's just detects heat, I'm pretty sure. Well, I just read you could use candles, so I don't actually know how it works, but I do believe it has to do with heat if you can
That's
use
strange.
You'd
Yeah,
have
what
to
if you
plug it in.
strange.
burn like your screen?
You'd have to plug it into the Wii.
candles. True.
You do
Oh,
have to
you
plug the
burn
candles
your
into the
screen.
Wii. Every time I
yes,
see
of
that
course.
one picture,
So
I
can
just
people
think,
basically make iToy in Scratch now with that? Okay,
You
to
can.
explain what it is, people can, or the new blocks in the new camera sensing blocks let you like, it lets the whole thing detect where your head is and where your mouth is and where your nose is and where your hat is, and it can like put certain, it can go to your nose or it can go to your mouth, or it can, so you can make funny costumes, I guess. You can even draw a face and let it detect that, which is
Oh,
cool.
really? I didn't see that. Or I didn't
Yeah,
even
they
think of that. Really.
they showed it.
I guess I didn't
I
watch
guess
the
you
whole
could
thing.
do that.
I have made a Kinect game where you move around and you hit enemies falling down. So I'll be the first to say I was very excited for this feature because I wanted to like make a game where maybe you have to hit things with your nose or something. But I was just I understand why it would be laggy. You know, it would have to update the screen constantly and find your face. But it was actually kind of unusable on my computer. And my computer's like alright, so I don't know how well this is gonna work for kids, so they might not add this.
Yeah, this might be a thing that's just like way harder to implement for them and might have like a lot more bugs, or it's just janky overall.
I think
It's,
they
like, not-
implemented it. Okay, it's janky, so they might just
Yeah.
not add it to the final product.
It's like extremely like just pure fun based and not technical. I guess it is very technical, but you know what I mean.
It's hard. I don't.
Yeah.
I think they should keep it, but I hope they can make it more accessible for kids that might not have as good software. Or
Absolutely. So that's that. I really hope, I don't know if people like, I encourage everybody out there or listening to check out the Scratch Lab stuff and actually give feedback if you find anything or if you see anything you would like, because apparently now, you know, Scratch seems like it's listening, or they're listening.
Yeah, I urge people to write feedback. Right, if you want these things, if we all write it, there's actually a good chance they could actually add it because they want to know what we want.
Yeah, and
I
even
think,
if you just like it, just say, yeah, I love this.
I wouldn't mind if we can't have variable speeds, but what if we could do like fast type or slow type? Like, even that might be nice.
Yeah, I think that would be good. Or have it like, okay, I don't know how that would work out. I was gonna say have it like have the speed of it being typed out be based on something like some other variable we already
Size
have
or something.
I don't know. I don't know if size works.
That might
I'm
be a
thinking
little janky. That might be a little shaky.
Yeah, doesn't really work. Anyways,
I could see type
cool
over amount of seconds, and then type this in X seconds instead of just having a speed.
Swifty, I'm interested. How much? Okay, when was the last time you actually like used Scratch? Because we've been we've been talking a lot recently, and like you saw some of Wazo stuff now, and
yeah, it must
you're
it must
up
have
to
been a
speed
while.
with the new stuff.
I think the last time I used Scratch, I was 13. So it's been 10 years probably.
Respectable.
Yeah, probably around then, I'd say. I'm not positive. I think it was definitely around then, because what happened is that, I'd been making animations on there for so long, but then my account got accessed.
My
account was deleted. Now, this may sound stupid, but at the time I was going through an emotional place. I was a young teenage boy, and experiencing emotions.
Caught in the world.
And so I was like, oh, I don't care anymore. I'm never gonna animate ever again. Right?
Oh no.
And I was like, I give up. So angst. And so like for a while I actually gave up animation. Like I actually didn't animate for like 2 years.
Was that when you started with voice acting?
No. Well, I mean, technically, voice acting started when I was voicing my own projects.
Okay. Yeah, I guess. Yeah,
because I did the large majority of the characters. There was only like probably 2 or 3 characters that weren't voiced by me.
Can you give me your best Augustus?
Give me my best what?
Your best Augustus, whatever.
I didn't even voice him, actually. Oh, you know what?
You didn't voice him?
For all those old school fans, if you want to know where the Husaga Kita Pitarara voice line comes from, right? For those who don't know, Augustus was a character in my thing. That was the only thing he would say. That line. It's gibberish. It doesn't mean anything. Okay? But the whole thing is that if you look up, there's a very obscure movie called Godthumb, right? Which is a parody of The Godfather, but with thumbs,
Oh.
right?
Oh.
And there is a scene where a guy, like, aka the Godfather, the movie is like, I wanna buy a kitten from this dude, and he just repeats that exact same line. And I found it so funny as a kid that I put it into my projects, and then people know it now more from my projects than the actual movie.
Right? Like, I didn't know
Scratch.
about that. Yeah.
That's just a Scratch moment.
Scratch has culture. Like, I'm as surprised as y'all are probably to hear this, but Scratch does have, like...
It does.
Yeah. And Wazzle showcased this best, I feel, with his, with the Scratch Saga.
Yeah, I saw that. That was great.
Which we all did see together in like a call, which was amazing. Like having you see the new like a pinnacle of animation like on Scratch or like
yeah, it was
story
really
based
good. I'm
animation.
surprised how long they can be now. You know,
Mm-hmm,
I remember everybody always ended their projects with a little black screen and saying like "to be continued." You know, for every single thing.
I
with a
tried to
little-
bring that back. I put that
a
on
little
my
gif in the background.
SRCast animated. I had a little dancing candle
Yeah,
smith in the corner.
Black
So good.
screen, bottom white square. Put random
Yeah.
dance or animation
Yep.
or meme, and then to be continued.
Yep.
Yep.
Or just Finn.
That's
Were they ever
Scratch
continued?
right there.
Well, it depends.
If it said to be continued, probably. If it said Finn, probably not.
Oh yeah, people use Finn a lot. But there were a lot of stuff that I didn't finish. And funny enough, like a lot of the concepts from the stuff I would make, like a lot
Yeah,
of people
yeah.
remember the beach. That's like
Yeah.
I'd say my first
that one of
big
the things-
series.
Yeah, yeah. Was that one of the ones you did like one project in 3 days?
Kinda. It was more like
Or it started out as that?
it was kind of like that series was like my first big series that I did. You know, I did the first series I ever did that was popular. It sounds so old because you know it's old internet, but it was the epic
is
fail
old.
series.
Yes, I remember
Yes.
that.
Did
I
you
remember that.
pioneer epic fail? Or
Which is
did,
the deep voice, like epic
did,
fail.
did you pioneer epic fail, or was that already a genre before you were doing it?
It
I forget.
pretty sure it
kinda
was.
was already a genre. How it came
You
to
definitely didn't invent the term. I'll give
be?
you
Yeah,
that.
I didn't invent the term. I found the voice
Yeah.
clip online. The epic fail, right?
Epic fail.
with the punch.
And I thought like, oh, let me just make funny little shorts with this, right?
Yeah.
And then my first ever project to get on the front page was Epic Fail 9, right? Which was the first one of Augustus, actually. The Husaga Kita Pitarara, you know?
Yeah.
And I remember I was like maybe 10 years old. And I got so excited seeing my project on the front page that I like ran outside. And I remember my brother was playing outside, like kicking a soccer ball. And I was like, dude. And he's like, wow, like I got on the front page.
I'm basically famous now.
And I was so excited. And
Did he
so
know
that's why
about your Scratch account?
I kept making more epic fails. What'd you say?
Did he know about your Scratch account?
Yeah,
Oh,
he
yeah,
would
yeah,
help
he
me
was
with a
part of
lot
it,
of the
right?
stuff. So
Oh,
Storyboarding.
He was a character, John. right?
of course, like I did most of like the I did all the animation and I did most of the voices and I created most of the characters, but like he would help like story wise.
Nice.
But
That's awesome, man.
When we got to the beach, you know, I was basically every single day making that, like every single day.
Yeah,
Like once I was doing school,
we
you
were
know,
out
it
there
was
waiting
hop
for
on
it.
the computer and get started. You know.
Yeah.
Local man accidentally gets caught in appealing to an audience.
But like my thing is that like, and I noticed nobody had been doing this at the time on Scratch, right? Like every time people made videos on Scratch, it was always like really short, like skits, a meme, or
yes.
like, you know, like a quick joke, right? Like even Astro, like Astro would do
fire and
like a lot of
laser.
like skits and stuff, like quick joke and then the video's over, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he did like that
Right.
super popular one that was randomness for the win, or what I think it was called that. Where it's just like an arrangement of memes and like short clips.
Yeah,
Funny,
yeah, like a
haha.
That were
compilation.
funny, haha. Back then.
So when I made the
yeah,
beach, I
all
was
good.
like, no one's done like an actual like animated series yet, right, on Scratch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like one of the biggest ones at the time was like Mr. Happy Man, and Mr. Happy Man was kind of just like I would compare him to the annoying orange, right?
Yeah.
Like he has a thing he does, a thing that he sticks to, right? And he
niche.
just rolls with it, and every episode is like playing on that bit, right?
So Mr. Happy Man, who actually isn't happy at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Just grumpy.
He's an angry
Haha.
man.
Just like how annoying orange is like it's a talking orange who annoys his apple friends, right?
You know?
Like it eventually gets old, but you know.
Yeah.
But like with my stuff, I was like, let me make an actual series, right? And
Yeah.
so the beach, the first time I made the first beach episode, it was kind of like, oh, let me just make something for fun, like a little skit of them going to the beach, right? But then, like, I thought about it, like, what if I made this a multi-episode series, right? And so
What
that's
if I
did.
brought oil into this?
And so, me and my brother came up with the story, and it was like, you know, for those who remember or don't know about it, it was basically my characters, Swifty, Stan, and like David, John, and all the others. They take a vacation to the beach together, and they decide to stay at a hotel. Which, now I'm thinking about it, the funniest part about this whole series is that it barely takes place on an actual beach. It mostly takes place in a hotel.
It
Yeah,
does.
the hotel is like the big.
But
Yeah.
they're in this hotel.
Sounds like a vacation to me.
Yeah, pretty much. They take a stay in this hotel, and they slowly learn as they're staying there that the mafia like resides within this hotel and pretty much owns it, right? And so they eventually figure out that the whole mafia is trying to basically rig this whole beach to get oil under it, and they're going to ruin like the whole thing, right? So Swifty
America.
and the others are planning to stop
Sure.
them and get them arrested because they're illegally getting oil from under the beach, right?
The classic villain.
And so, I mean, I even remember I made a topical BP oil spill joke in there.
Yeah.
When was that? 2008.
I think I actually ended the series on a Rickroll, which is the funniest thing to me.
I think it did.
Swifty, can you
literally-
give me a mafia? Can you do me a mafia accent for your main
Oh
villain?
god, what would one of them sound like? It was like,
It was like, what was like, hey, Bobby.
What do you think you're doing here? I need.
like they talk like that.
Yeah. It was
Very
like
like
that.
stereotypical Godfather sounding characters.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Which,
And then you had a bunch of other series. Oh, sorry. Or were you still on?
no, well, the last thing I was just gonna say is like the freaking series ended on the characters being like, we need to distract them while we get the police here, and then Swifty's like, I'm just going to rickroll them.
That's how you do it.
Dude,
Well, they're in the
Yeah.
stadium.
it's
like-
funny to think about. Like back then, everyone's like, "Oh my god," you know, like funny reference, big rickroll. But like now, it's just like the funniest thing to me because it's like it's so
Rickrolling
dated.
is
you know?
immortal.
You
I mean,
carbon dated your own
Rickrolls are kind of
project.
still a thing. Like, I don't know if it's unfortunately, but they are still a thing. So,
Yeah,
Like, it's kind of a
It's not really
shame
dated.
that being rickrolled came back.
yeah.
Because it's
a lot
like
of
a
memes are
genuine
coming back.
surprise.
It's kind of like
to
a
get
weird,
rickrolled.
like history repeats itself thing, you know. Of
Yeah.
everything always comes back in some way, shape, or
Yeah,
form,
trends.
and also people get nostalgic, and it's kind of ironic humor, you know.
I remember
Yeah,
absolutely.
back in
Absolutely.
like 2016, 17, I was happy to get rickrolled.
yeah, the 90s are coming back too, or they already are. I don't know where we are now.
It's
2000s, I guess.
interesting, especially to me because like I've seen like the Rage comics and stuff come back, right? And
Oh
then-
yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
and then
but that's like more ironic than anything.
yeah, but that's the thing. It's all ironic, right? But the thing is,
Yeah,
the irony is funny, so the meme is still funny in a weird way, you know?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Memes are weird. Memes are
so
good.
you're saying you could just upload the beach again and people would like it as much? Okay, I don't know.
I think they would. You should re-upload the beach series.
I mean, there is a
Or, like, make a
channel
remaster.
that has, I think, all the parts actually. It's Swifty Revive.
Really?
Swifty
Really?
revived.
If you
Let's link that.
if you guys ever want to go there, there is a Scratch account called Swifty Revived. It has a big portion of the projects I made. Not all.
Nice.
It has some.
Did someone try to download them before your account got yeeted?
Yeah, pretty much. They also tried to de-spoof a lot because a lot of the spoofs are still up of my old projects, and so they tried to find ones that like either were barely touched or not touched at all because sometimes people would do that.
Yeah.
Because you get like 500
People
remixes.
do be remixing and just not change anything.
Yeah.
Spoofs. I know
AKA
some of the
reposting.
spoofs better than the
Timeless.
actual like episodes. It's amazing. I know Chicken Smacker was a big account back in the day that made. I think he made the high quality ones, the high quality spoofs of especially of the beach.
I remember
Smacker, I'm
Scratchy
gonna-
Wait spoofing my stuff before he became big.
Really?
Yeah, he
I've
made
heard
a
of Scratchy
ton of
Wait.
spoofs of my stuff. But what makes me interested in this whole thing is that kind of like I'm not looking to go back to Scratch. I'm way past that. I work in the professional animation industry now.
Yeah.
I respect it.
And Swifty Revived is a nice thing to look at because like the guy had emailed me, right, and he was like, hey. I'm gonna do this. Is this okay? And I was like, yeah, it's okay. Like you can do it. And I told him at the time, like, I don't have many of my projects. Like I thought I had lost them all on my old laptop, right? Because my old laptop actually died because I had spilled coffee on it.
Oof.
So I was like, I don't have my projects. But it wasn't until maybe a year ago or so that I found a USB that had a bunch of my old projects on them, mostly unfinished projects, weirdly enough. I found a lot of the unfinished projects I was making. Like, there's this one project on there that I was really excited to make that I never finished, and I don't think it would have fit on the old file size, but it was going to be like,
I see.
like the video game that Swifty and Stan used to play, but it was going to be like super detailed and super high graphics, and I was working on making it really smooth, but I don't think it would have even fit on Scratch.
Was it Super Swifty Bros?
I don't think you'd be able to run it unless you have Turbo Warp.
Yeah. Back then it was like
I know a few guys who have made big games on Scratch.
Oh yeah,
one
I
of my
wonder who
favorite
those
game
are.
makers back then was like Cozy Hut 3. I remember Cozy Hut 3 was
Oh, I love Cozy Hut 3. We worked
good.
on Fade together, I believe.
Should we like answer some Q&A, maybe one
let's
question
go
or
through,
so,
Let's
and
go
then
through the old ScratchRunning Podcast Q&A box.
Let's
If you're
do it.
new to listening to this podcast, the SRCast Q&A box is a project on my profile where I actually read the comments
Nice.
for once.
So what did you
pretty
find?
cool.
What do we have there?
Someone
answered that.
talks about who makes our thumbnails. That's mostly Nick, but sometimes it's the guest artists.
Yeah.
I think Clive, you've
sometimes-
done,
or-
like,
or
2
mostly me,
three
but
now.
I would
We do like to do the thing.
making a thumbnail for you.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, let's
Wait,
go.
what if you drew it in the old style with a big football head?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Oh my god, they were kind of like football heads, huh?
The
Our style has
Stewie.
drastically changed since then.
Yeah.
Drastically.
So next question, yeah.
Moise30 asked us, why do you think Scratch means so much to you?
Ooh.
And
Swifty,
I
do you
think
wanna
we
answer this
all
first?
have different answers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's extremely important to me. It means a lot. Like, I made a lot of friends on there. I mean, some I don't know to this day. Some I do. I mean, hey, I know
Yeah.
you guys, but like,
I am very, very outside on the Scratch community, but Scratch right now for me has some of my favorite games to play, and
Yeah.
I started Scratch running.
Including Goomblegurt,
Right.
of course.
oh,
Right.
Goomba
True.
Check that out when
Right,
it comes out.
right.
Goomba too.
Yeah, I'm working
Coming
on
out
it,
Yeah.
guys.
this
99.99.
year.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say don't promise.
This
I would
century.
not be here without Super Fighter
that
Tournament.
game's so good.
That game's so good.
Find a tournament, really?
But
Yeah.
Scratch was like,
what?
it means so much to me
you.
because it was truly the start of my animation career.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
even though I was a child, right? Like, I was a literal kid, and I was making all this stuff. If I never did that, I don't think I would be where I am now. Like,
Right.
But yeah, Scratch was a big influence for me because, you know, it was also like the first social media I used because
Right.
it was the only thing I knew, you know. And so when I was posting all my stuff on there, you know, it was the first time of me experiencing what people were like on the internet, me finding out memes, you know, me experiencing what the culture is like, you know, and there was a very specific culture on there, which is very early 2000s. And so I, when I was on there, it was kind of like, it built me in a way, you know, it made me maybe have the sense of humor I have now. It made me learn a lot of techniques. It made me learn a lot from other people, especially it helped me learn a lot about like how programming works too.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And I feel like if I didn't do it, like if I'd never like learned about Scratch, which the way I learned about it in the first place was from a newspaper, I feel like I would have not been into animation at all, and I would probably be like, I don't know, into computers or something.
I love these stories of how people find out about Scratch. Because Shell saw a poster in his like school, like halls or whatever, and you saw it in the newspaper.
I can't remember when. I can't even remember how I found out about Scratch.
Dang.
Nick, what does Scratch mean to you?
I mean, the fact that I still use it to this day does like I've been on breaks, like on long breaks from it, but like from an early age, like I started out, I think. Like most of us, I didn't start out with the community aspect of it. I just started out with the program. I had it on a laptop installed in school.
Oh, same here.
Nice.
And so I just played around with that. Like when I found out, oh, you can make games with this. This is the coolest thing like ever. And I, you know, played around with that for a while, and until when I figured out that you can upload it and that there's like a website to it. When I slowly started unpacking that, and I found out about Swifty stuff. I found out about Astro stuff and the games like 08 Jack T made and all those people. I think that's like when I also found out about like meme culture back then
through Scratch. Oh no!
Absolutely, yeah. I didn't know what half of the stuff was back then. Like I was a dude in Germany, like a little kid, finding out about like I'm firing my laser, and I have no clue what that's even supposed to be. But
it's so funny.
was funny.
I am very much out of the loop on the Scratch community. I went into Scratch chat and I couldn't understand anything.
Yeah, same
I
here.
actually do not have the Scratcher role on that server.
Yeah,
because you're not.
There's some. I don't know. I'm not up to date with all of the new community stuff. I mean, we're doing Scratch running, and we kind of have to keep up to date with some of the stuff.
Do it on Scratch because we got Scratch projects.
Yeah.
I like
But I'm
looking
also
back for the
a working
nostalgia,
man, so-
but I have no idea what's going on these days.
Yeah.
Same.
Listen.
I know like some stuff, but not everything.
Now I can speak. I'm a little bit more hip with the Zoomers, so to speak.
Ooh,
on
I see.
On Scratch. I've been talking to some animators. I didn't even know Potato Animator until like a couple days ago. I've been talking to him. It's pretty cool. And then I've been talking to some other people that he knows that are all very
Boy
goofy.
McBoy on Red in a Scratch comment
Yeah.
section once.
That's so
and then
rude.
I went on to wait. No, can I talk about Boy McBoy on Scratch?
I mean, do it.
Sure.
Did he get banned or something?
He got banned because
Really?
he was live streaming.
Oh.
Well, let's not
Wait,
promote that in any
what
way,
do
but
you mean
still.
he was live streaming?
Well,
Not on
don't tell
Scratch,
him what
but,
he
like-
means. Just because then you will get banned.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Ask McBoy streams.
Noted.
So I don't know. I feel like now with Scratch running, we're like slowly starting to unpack again, like what's cool on Scratch and what people are, you know, what the younger people are up to. Because I don't know. I do consider myself a veteran of sorts on Scratch, but still not like I don't know. I wasn't big or anything back in the day. Like my fame, if you could call it that.
Yeah,
at all,
same here.
was during the
I
2.0
don't
days.
like to call myself a Scratcher.
That's why you don't get Scratcher status.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I'm not a Scratcher anymore, but I was. You know,
Yeah.
it's kind of like it's a part of you, but you move on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like
True.
I feel like
True.
I'm
I'm
in a
finishing
similar
up.
boat.
Right.
I can't wait for that. Okay, let's leave it at that. I think with like 1 hour in recording, let's see how much it's gonna be in edited form.
I think most of our 1,400 followers don't know who you are.
Yep.
So
If
Yeah.
you want to look me up, like I said, check out Swifty Revived. If you want to see some of my old stuff from like 2010,
Swifty Revived.
it's made by a fan.
Swifty Revived. Everybody, check it out.
Nice.
Have a good time rewatching some 1.4 nostalgic stuff.
Classics.
Some classics, some absolute classics. We do have old memes in there. Beware. Check out the stuff we have talked about, the projects we have talked about in the
The
notes and credits
SRCast
on the right.
mentioned projects. That's a good studio.
And yeah, check that out. Check out the people in this that were in this cast.
Yeah.
Maybe even leave a comment if you want to.
Yeah, maybe leave a little comment.
Greatly appreciated.
Maybe leave a like,
And
comment,
we have the
subscribe
new
to
emotes
ScratchRunning.
now. We have the new the cool new emotes hopefully with
Yeah.
this one.
There should be 6
Oh, yeah,
now.
yeah.
Go.
Congrats
click
to
on
the
add
to
menu.
the winners of the contest again. Okay, now Kieran, it's your
All right.
time.
Yeah. Okay, so this was the ScratchRunning Podcast. I've been your host,
Sure was.
Kieran KTrav258 Travis. If you liked this podcast, there's more where this came from
Right?
on
Hope
ScratchRunning.
so. You can also find us on Spotify apparently.
Spotify, yeah, I
I'm
officially
very
released these to Spotify.
Oh, Pog, sick.
somebody uploaded our podcast before we did on Spotify.
I respectfully told them to delete their account.
Please delete
So
your
here we
account.
are.
Yeah, it was very respectful.
Would you kindly leave?
Kindly delete.
Yeah, so stream it. I never want to say that again.
Make sure to hit that
The
bell.
recording has now stopped.